Okay. Hal, thanks so much for joining us at the HIMSS Texas Regional Conference. It is such a delight to have you here in Texas with us. Just wanted to ask you a couple questions and talk through really what regional impact from a HIMSS chapter perspective means to you, and really what that vision looks like for HIMSS Global as we, continue to support you as the larger organization, and really just enhancing and touching, all healthcare leaders and technologists across the nation. So, wanted to just get some insights from you on what that direction looks like.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is an amazing event. As you know, this is like the largest turnout since the pandemic. It just continues to grow. You've been building up this capability, you and the leadership team, and bringing it to this incredible regional event. It's 5 chapters coming together, and you guys have just done a phenomenal job.
Oh, thank you.
You also have a chapter groupings of over 7,000 that sit inside Texas. And this is the perfect example where your fundamental makeup of your HIMSS membership is over 60% on the provider side, but so many unique disciplines
Mhm.
that sit inside of it. You really exemplify the society that we are, the fabric, if you would, of HIMSS. As we were fond of saying, we can't do anything in healthcare with just one group alone. It really does take everyone talking
Yeah.
and walking around and listening to the people from the chapter, listening to the market suppliers, and just having the engagement with the audiences. They're into it 100%. They understand the value of a chapter. And the value of the chapter really falls into three things. First of all, it's networking. I'm getting to know people like me in my market. Two, it's an incredible exchange of ideas. This is what's working. This isn't what's working. This is what it feels like in our market. And each market is unique,
Mhm.
right? Texas is a little different than what the conversation is up in Kansas City, where I
Right.
was earlier, what might be happening in North Carolina. And yet they're also somewhat the same. The players are a little different, right? And
Mhm.
state regulations have a lot to do with the impact in every market. And then the third piece of it is taking that time, just taking that pause on a thought leadership basis to think about what's coming and what's happening. Because as someone said to me upstairs a few minutes ago, everything's right in front of us.
Yeah.
So, with everything right in front of us, how do we think about the vision? And the answer is you just did it today.
Mhm.
You just took some time to step back and think about what's coming. And whether it's directly recognized or subliminally, you're going to take that into account when you make your next move,
Yeah.
when you make your next suggestion. That's the beauty of HIMSS. That's
Mhm.
why the chapters are the foundation of HIMSS and why they're so critically important.
No, I 100% agree. I've been a HIMSS member for almost 15 years now. So, and I love it because healthcare and technology is ever changing. And I wake up every morning and there is something new and something exciting happening. And it just gets me out of bed and gets me, thrilled to be a part of it. It was interesting. I had a conversation with a leader the other day here in Texas, and with the shift from coming back to work, they're they're asking me advice on how to keep engagement between their employees. And so we're thinking about how do we use HIMSS as the catalyst to drive that connection, education, really that purpose
Mm-hmm.
in healthcare technology workforce again. And so, we're coming up with different synergies and meeting groups or things that we can do to really kind of bring that together. What do you see, or, in some areas that we can, use or value that we can drive even with global HIMSS through regionals to get people, educated, more involved,
Yeah,
and growth of just connection again?
it's a great question. And it's one that we think about almost every single day because we always have opportunities. And I think more so than ever, recently in particular. So I think there's three areas. One, we're trying to figure out, and we would love your help and assistance. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. How do we bring the content from around the globe that's meaningful to Texas? And then, secondly, how do we create this great content that you're creating in Texas and bring it to the globe?
Hmm.
We need to be more efficient in that because right now we have all of this phenomenal content that's being created. So that's one. The second part is around professional development. So I think the learning of what the market needs, the certifications, what training can we bring forward? And it's not just a webinar. I mean, as you know, HIMSS is 365, right?
Right.
By 24 by 7. So I think at the local market level, I would be looking at and saying, okay, where are we going? Are there unique competencies, which is
Hmm.
really HIMSS's strength that we need to have and to train our people on? Should we bring in content from the outside as well as produce our own? Let's have a mini session, which is all wrapped around that educational piece. And how do we do it together? So I think we'd love to sit down and have that conversation.
No, great.
This is exactly what we're thinking about right now. And I think part of it, as you know, we're rebuilding HIMSS.org.
Hmm.
And part of that gating capability is just that.
Hmm.
That I'm a Texas member and I can see this. I'm also a Texas member, so I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm not a member, I can't see everything.
Hmm.
So, that's a really important next step for us.
So you just tagging on to that, you mentioned membership earlier when we were talking. The value of the membership is not just signing up and attending an event, but truly kind of digging your heels in and really grabbing all of the technology and offerings that you guys have at the fingertips, from the educational components to the webinars to all of those things. Where do you see the value of membership going for HIMSS?
We hope continuing up. I mean, the reason we've grown so much in the last 5 years, going from roughly 80 now to 125,000 members globally, is that people are looking up and seeing that digital health transformation means HIMSS.
Hmm.
Where am I going to go to get the education? Where can I find people that have already been through it? Where are the thought leaders that are thinking about it every day?
Yeah.
Who has their pulse on the regulatory issues, not just in the United States, but globally, because they all impact each other?
Hmm.
What does the future of healthcare look like? And the answer keeps coming back to HIMSS.
Yeah.
And so we have governments as well as individuals.
Hmm.
We have health systems as well as clinics. We have regulatory folks. We have them all coming in and saying, we'd really like your thoughts on this. We'd really like your opinion on this. How do we do this?
Yeah.
So, from our standpoint, I think that opportunity as
Hmm.
a society to be multifaceted and involved and to bring the right people to the table, almost no matter the subject,
Right.
that's our incredible strength. And you
Mhm.
have that same strength here in the Texas market. And so, how do you get the CEOs of the different hospital systems? How do you get the C suite
Mhm.
together? And how can we help? What's the strategy? What's the legislative issues going on? Bring their government relations people, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And also digital health transformation from a technology, from a people, process, and technology standpoint. All of those things are capable, and we just need to be thoughtful in how we target it for the unique markets.
No, I can't agree more. One thing I've seen over the years of leading the conference and being a part of this is everyone's ready to get back together. There's a synergy
100%.
happening. There's a moment for connection and for growth, and it's a really exciting time to be engaged with all of these members that just are yearning for more. And so, how do we give them more? So, I'm excited to collaborate with you and talk through things. Any words of wisdom for everyone
Yeah.
before?
So to that membership point, I'm going to tell you a really quick story
Okay.
um, that took place at North Carolina HIMSS last year. So I'm from North Carolina, so I went this past year, and a woman came and sat down at the table where I was just sitting on the side listening to presentations. And I introduced myself and I
Mhm.
said, "So, how long have you been a HIMSS member?" She said, 8, 9 years. I said, "Okay."
Okay.
I said, "So, how often do you come to the North Carolina HIMSS event?" She goes, "This is the first time as a HIMSS member that I've ever been to a HIMSS event."
Hmm.
I was like, "Wow, really?"
Yeah.
So I asked her, I said, "How did you find value then as a member if it wasn't at an event?"
Right.
She said, "The educational tools, the onlines, reading the Davies Awards, reading the success stories, doing the competencies of my certifications,
Mm.
all of them have had a huge impact on my career.
Right.
And now the first time I've walked in the door, I go, what did you think? And she said, it was amazing. I'm going to come back every time now. So my one point of advice is this. you're going to capture 10% of your membership coming here to this event.
Hmm.
When we have the global conference, we also capture about 10% of our membership, right? The real question is, how do we engage that other 90% between the events? And I think that's the piece we need to work on together, because they're using our materials. We're going to understand it even better, but that's where we're going to have greater success, because we are impacting that other 90%,
Right.
or at least the mass majority of them,
Hmm.
and keeping them and really creating that continuous value. That'll be our long-term success.
Well, we're excited to be on the journey with you. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thanks for being here.
Oh, and thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.